The morning sun rose over the glass towers of Saitorai Innovations, staining the city gold as the world inside that building prepared for another day of ruthless competition. But before the executives arrived, before the board members strutted through the marble lobby, a solitary figure moved silently with a mop in hand. His name was Haru Tanuki, a soft-spoken janitor whose eyes hinted at stories he never told. And on this particular day, fate was already threading itself into something unforgettable. If you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports. Your support keeps meaningful stories alive. Haru's shift was almost over when the private elevator chimed open and a tall, sharply dressed man stepped out. This was Aiden Kuroshi, the notoriously arrogant billionaire CEO whose temper was whispered about more than his accomplishments. He had a meeting in less than 10 minutes and was already annoyed to see a janitor nearby. As Aiden walked past, Haru stepped back respectfully, but the CEO clicked his tongue and muttered a string of irritated words in Japanese, mocking Haru's posture, his worn-out shoes, even calling him useless for being in the way. The executives behind him chuckled, assuming the janitor wouldn't understand a thing. But Haru understood every word. He understood the accent, the sarcasm, the contempt, because Japanese wasn't foreign to him. It was home. He didn't react immediately. Instead, he set his mop aside gently, took a quiet breath, and replied in flawless, elegant Japanese that echoed through the lobby like a sudden gust of wind. He wished the CEO a productive meeting, reminded him it was unprofessional to ridicule staff, and added that humility was the true measure of leadership. The hallway fell silent. Aiden froze mid-stride, turning slowly, shock spreading across his face. His executives stared wide-eyed, utterly confused. But Haru didn't wait for a response. He returned to cleaning as if nothing had happened, while Aiden stood speechless, his pride cracked wide open. That moment should have ended there, but it didn't. Something about Haru's words lingered in Aiden's mind all throughout the meeting. He kept replaying the accent, the tone, the quiet confidence behind the janitor's gentle correction. By noon, curiosity ate at him, and he ordered the head of HR to bring Haru to his office. When Haru entered, Aiden was struck not only by the man's calm but by the quiet burden he carried, like someone who had lived through storms that others never noticed. Aiden asked bluntly where Haru had learned Japanese. Haru gave a small, tired smile and explained that he had grown up in Osaka, studied linguistics, and once dreamed of becoming a professor. But life had taken sharp turns. Immigration struggles, a sick mother, and financial collapse had pushed him into taking whatever job he could to survive. He had accepted the janitor position not because he lacked skill, but because he needed stability, and this building was the only place that offered it at the time. He didn't say it with bitterness. He said it with acceptance. Aiden felt something unfamiliar stir within him, guilt. For years, he had seen people as steps in his ladder, forgetting that every person carried a world inside them. He apologized, earnestly, awkwardly, stumbling over words he wasn't used to saying. To his surprise, Haru bowed and told him there was no resentment. Sometimes people act from stress and pressure, he said. Sometimes people forget their own humanity, and they just need reminders. From that day forward, Aiden began seeing Haru everywhere, in the lobby, the hallways, the service rooms. He noticed how Haru always greeted security guards warmly, how he helped new interns without being asked, how he offered tissues to crying employees during rough days. People trusted Haru more than they trusted most managers. Then, one afternoon, a crisis struck. Aiden was preparing for the biggest international investor conference of his career when the Japanese delegation arrived early, only to be informed that their interpreter had been delayed by a storm. Panic rippled through the event staff. Millions were at stake. Every eye turned to Aiden, expecting him to fix the impossible problem. And then Haru stepped forward. Softly, politely, he offered his help. Aiden stared at him, the memory of that morning replaying once more. Desperate, he agreed. And within minutes, Haru transformed from the invisible janitor into the calm center of the entire conference. He interpreted flawlessly, navigating technical terms, cultural nuances, even smoothing awkward moments with charm and diplomacy. The Japanese investors were deeply impressed. Deals were signed. Partnerships formed. And Aiden, standing beside Haru the whole time, realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. After the conference, Aiden requested Haru meet him in his office again. But this time, things were different. Aiden didn't sit behind his desk towering over the janitor. He stood by the window, humbled. He told Haru he didn't want to apologize again. Instead, he wanted to offer him something meaningful, a new career path. A position in international communications, with training, sponsorship, and a salary that reflected Haru's true value. Haru's eyes filled, not with pride, but with relief. His mother's treatments. His debts. His dreams he had quietly buried. For the first time in years, everything felt possible again. Weeks passed, and Haru's life transformed. He traded his mop for conference briefs, his lonely night shifts for a desk by the window overlooking the city. But he never lost the gentleness that defined him. He greeted every janitor by name. He brought lunch for the security guards. He never let his success erase the humility that Aiden had once mocked. And Aiden changed too. He became known as a leader who listened, who looked employees in the eye, who understood that brilliance often hides beneath quiet surfaces. When people asked what changed him, he always answered the same way, a reminder from someone wiser than me. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that every person carries unseen struggles and hidden strengths, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports. Your engagement helps us bring more meaningful stories to life. Before we end, special request, comment kindness wins if you believe every person deserves dignity and a chance to rise. And so, in the daylight glow of Satori Innovations, where a janitor once walked unnoticed, a new legacy began, one built not on wealth or power, but on humility, compassion, and the simple courage to treat every human being with respect.